I was literally the only female at Service New South Wales in the line waiting to get the white card. And that felt really empowering too because it's so unexpected.
I love that.
And my husband's like, go you, because he's so different. Like, he's the numbers guy, works in an office, has, nicer hands than me most of the time. And so that's, even then, I just love that it's so unexpected.
Thank you for being so transparent about that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty cool.
It's also been quite nice because while I was studying, explained to my 4-year-old what I was doing. And she was like, a builder, like a man? And I was like, no, there are female builders.
Yeah.
So I like the conversations that are sparked from it as well.
Welcome to Behind the Design, a podcast where we unfold the details behind the designs we know and love and explore how each project comes to life. I am Camilla Ingle, owner of Unfolded, an interior design and styling studio. In this podcast series, we dive into the details with our industry experts, covering topics such as the creative process, latest design trends, and how we, as an industry, work together to meet the brief and overcome challenges. Let the conversation begin.
Welcome back to Behind the Design. I'm your host, Camilla Ingle, designer, founder of Unfolded, and someone who loves peeling back the layers of what it really means to create. Today I'm joined by Stephanie Ferrara, founder and lead designer of Laidback Lee Design Studio. Stephanie describes herself as an interior designer with a warm heart and a passion for beauty and innovation. But as you'll hear today, her journey is also about resilience, reinvention, and weaving design through every part of her life. One thing I've noticed in my own design practice is how personal the work really is. It's not just about floor plans or finishes. It's about people, families, and the stories behind the walls. Stephanie's journey, especially around her own property experience, is such a powerful reminder of that. Steph, welcome to Behind the Design.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you on. Tell us a little bit about your story, how Laidback Lee was, how it evolved, how did it start?
It started quite naturally, actually. I studied design and I was working in a design business, but more on the sales side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And in that business, it was led by a husband and wife. They had 2 young kids and we had a great studio. And I remember thinking, or maybe manifesting, gosh, I'd love to have some kind of flexibility or be able to do something like that day to day. And then COVID hit and they said, we need you to work 2 less days. And I said, well, I've obviously got a mortgage to pay. So do you mind if I pick up some design work? And then really within a couple of days, someone contacted me who was like a friend of a friend and said, I've just bought a house. I need you to style it. So I quickly set up an ABN and I set up the business literally within a few days. And I was like, this is my time. And then throughout COVID, I just kept picking up jobs. And I said to my husband, I think I've just got to take the leap because I can't juggle pretty much full-time work within 3 days and starting and establishing a business. And I guess the demand was there and it was also a really uneasy time. So I thought, why not? So I pretty much started in 2020, but before that was working with other interior designers and always in the field, but in various positions.
And so you opened the studio 2020.
2020. Everyone thought I was mad. My dad is a finance guy and he was like, you're kidding.
It's a risk.
This is a very big risk. And I think, I also was forward planning. I knew that I wanted to start trying to have a baby. Again, everyone thought that was another risk and another reason not to start the business. But I had within me that, manifestation that I really wanted to have a business that was flexible and that I could create a family life and a really fulfilling work life and just have it all jumbled into one.
So it sounds like you had quite a lot of like self-confidence, self-assurance to go, I don't know the answers yet, but this feels right.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll with it.
I think I was in a fortunate position as well because my husband has a really great job as well. And I just kept telling myself, if we really, really get stuck, at least, my partner will jump in and we'll rework things if we have to. So I just thought now's the time. And I remember working in another position and I wasn't, a lead designer in that role. And I'd be collaborating with people or other designers and thinking, I am wasting my life. Like, I need to be doing this. It's just something that's been a calling from a young age. And so when it came to it, I just reminded myself of everything that I've been missing and I just jumped into it.
And so Laidback Lee, where did the name come from?
So again and again, I'd have people saying that they really liked my laid back approach to things. So in my personal life, I'm super pedantic, OCD, forward planner, like not laid back. But I think when I'm really immersing myself in the design world in whichever way, I am just very laid back and I do have self-confidence and enough confidence to say, yep, let's do it. I think that's fine. And a lot of the time people are like, oh, but what about option 5, 6, 7, and 8? And I'm like, no, like it's fine. Let's do this. And it always works. So I think that was almost like a little hidden motto from the early days. And so I really liked the word laid back. And then Lee was just some nice alliteration. I didn't want my name in it. I wanted the business to have its own persona. And so I played around with logos and I loved the double L and that was it. And all the time people email me and say, hi, Lee. I'm like, oh, she's just talking to the business, not me.
Because I had that same thing when you and I were first chatting. I remember I had to find and look back on an email that you and I
go back to my signature.
Yeah, and I typed Lee. And I was like, no, I swear her name wasn't Lee. And then, it was months ago when we were first chatting. But yeah, and then it made me think, I wonder what that connection is.
It truly, like, people have asked, is it your mum's name? Is it? Like, no, it's not. I just really like the way that it sounded and I wanted the word laid back to be in there. That's truly it.
And so mum of 2.
Yes.
And recently renovated. Was it a new build?
Yeah, so in the time that I've had the business, we've moved 4 times now. Yeah, so we bought an apartment, flipped that, bought a house, flipped that, bought a new build, but had to do quite a bit of work on it. We just bought that because I had fallen pregnant with my second daughter. And we just needed more space. We were in a little Federation semi before that. So we bought it and we knew there were problems, but we fixed them. And so we've maybe, I think it's like 2 months ago, sold that. And I didn't think I was connected to it because originally it was someone else's project. But leaving that, all the little things that I had fixed, I'm now really missing in our rental while we renovate our next place. So I think we've left our mark in all these different moves, but this next one will be, it's a hefty project, but we're ready for it.
How does it vary?
Well, actually, I did the plans a few weeks ago and my husband asked, what walls are staying? I said,
Great
all
question.
the yellow walls are new walls. And he was like, Steph, the whole plan's yellow. So it's just a larger scale. It's a really cute bungalow. It's in a great position. Like, it's overlooking a really beautiful oval. It's got rear lane access. I sound like a real estate agent all of a sudden. But I think it's going to be really good for us. We were in a new home before and I think my heart is in older homes. So I really want to bring in or restore a lot of the things that have been damaged or gotten rid of or shaved over. So I think just the scale of detail that we'll have to go into is exciting and scary.
How long do you give yourself for something like this? Do you give yourself a timeline? Is there a limit or is it sort of...
We're really fortunate to, be in a position where we have a house around the corner from the one that we'll be renovating. So I will be able to pop in, pop out. We're also doing owner builder, so I'll be the builder. I've kind of planned for 6 to 8 months, but if it takes a year, it takes a year. I've got really good trades that I work with day to day. But I think the trouble is actually scheduling when they'll be working on other projects versus mine.
It's the project management of it all.
Yeah, so it's beyond project management for me because I'm like, we can't let clients down. And even appointing the right trades for my project, and timing all of that is something that I didn't really think about to start. So far it's okay because we haven't gotten into like the big demo, but I think once that starts, I'll be a little bit panicked. But most trades will say, you know, we've got a team, we'll jump in, we'll jump out, it's okay. And we're all the projects are kind of in the same vicinity in the inner west, so it is quite convenient in that sense.
Yeah. And I think in this sort of current climate, trades are used to doing that. You know, I work on probably max 3 projects at any one time, larger scale. And during that time, I always think, oh, the electrician's got to come back again because I'm adding a wall light or whatever it might be.
Yep.
But then I remember that I'm also seeing that same electrician at a few different other jobs, and they're juggling the way that we're juggling.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as it all gets done within certain hours of a day, maybe for them 7 till 4, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
7 till 6 sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we think that it's annoying for them to come back, but I guess that's really quite insightful for even our listeners. It's like, you know, invest in your trades and then have those conversations. You may need to come back and forth. The timeline is a bit jarred. How can we work that?
And even the quotes, right? Like with the project, the way that it's sitting now for ourselves, we've got so many variables. There are so many things that are up in the air, and we just don't know what will happen when we get on site and knock down 100-year-old walls and things like that. And that happens with my own client projects as well. You know, I might say, yeah, we'll just wallpaper that wall, and then they come to site and things change, or there's, you know, water seeping through the walls, or crazy, crazy things. So I think being able to trust your trades and know that, you know, prices and all those scary things will change is just part of it.
Absolutely. Add 10%, maybe 20.
Add a bit.
Add 50.
Yeah. My husband was like, you know, what's our budget looking like? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I know, but we don't really know till we get started.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got a small team,
Yes.
so you have a bit of support.
Yes.
So how does that work for you? Is it in a studio or?
So when we started, or when the business started, it was literally me. And very quickly after
Which
that.
is common.
Which is common.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people are.
Yeah.
Very quickly after that, I realized I probably need someone else when I'm juggling, at the time, newborn life as well. So I had my first daughter in 2021. So literally a year into business, I had my laptop with me at the hospital. It was, a lot. And I remember coming home and I thought, I need to hire someone, and I need to hire someone really quickly.
Yeah.
So I did, and I literally brought someone on full time from day one, because I was like, I almost needed like a partner to just jump in and out of the business and do what I have to do, but also know that if someone's calling, there's someone there to answer it. So I did that, and then I kept her on for a very, very, very long time. And then last year I hired 2 new people, and then we started doing full service architectural drawings as well. So now Alex, who is like my long lost sister, she runs the architecture side, I run interiors, and we've got an interior architect and an interior designer in the team.
Wow.
And we've got Sam, a draftsman. He pops in and out because he's got another job that he's a photographer, but he also is highly skilled. So when we get stuck, he joins the girl team.
How good. So 5 of you in total?
5 of us, yeah.
Gosh.
That's
It is
crazy.
nice. I mean, we need that support.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't do it unless you want to stay a one-man band forever and not scale and really, you know, push the boundaries and push those limits. You've got to do it. You got to delegate.
Delegating is hard. I am always everyone's friend. And so in the team, you know, there's been a few instances where I've been like, okay, guys, we need to sit down. I need to be the boss. So those are some of the challenges that I've had maybe over the last 12 months. I now have 2 daughters who are 4 and 2. Obviously, my personal life involves quite a bit of, you know, reno, building work. You know, I've got developers in the family and I'm helping them with their projects. So there's more to just the projects that I'm doing day to day within the business. We're kind of in a really nice flow at the moment where I delegate, but they know what they need to do as well. And I'm also pushing everyone to be really confident, client-facing as well, because I think that's something that's tricky when you scale up. People still want the owner of the business. So I'm always, pushing for them to be really involved in all those meetings or to go to a meeting without me.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a big one. I've found, having an assistant now and even just having her have her own email in the business, at unfolded.com.au. So it's just nice. I'll CC her in. So there's that light introduction and then she'll take over from there. But it's all that time that we need to invest into those early stages.
Yeah.
One, to make sure they're the right fit. And two, to make sure that the clients are comfortable with them. And, if I step back a little bit, she's going to be fine. She'll look after you. Or
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like in the way of making everyone feel comfortable, I always make sure that I'm almost like a big sister. And I don't have a sister, so I wouldn't know, but I feel like I'm trying. So, we all kind of enjoy the same fashion and things like that. So if I find something that I'm obsessed with, I'm like, guys, look at this. And not to say go buy that because you're on brand, but in a weird way, we're all kind of doing that as well. So that when clients are seeing anyone from the team, they're like, oh, that makes sense. She's kind of, it just works.
It's not wildly different.
Yeah.
So then with a small team, where are you headed? Are you hoping to kind of stay at this really nice sweet spot at the moment for a while you've got the renovation going? And
yes, I think now we're in a really nice position where everyone's comfortable, like everyone has a good relationship with one another, which I really love.
It's important.
So important. And I also want to nurture what we have. So I rather everyone evolve and grow and upskill together and keep a nice little concise team. And I think that maybe takes the pressure off me being involved every single day because I've got to be a builder now.
You're putting on a different hat.
But I think that also is really important for me to do as well. I think the timing maybe feels a little bit chaotic, but I think it'll be worth it in the end because I'm with builders all the time on site, looking at the way bricks are laid, all those really, I'm going to say boring, but things that I never was that interested in. And so now I've got my white card, I've done my owner builders course, so I feel like it's a great new skill that I have and just helps me communicate with builders and things like that. So, yeah.
So talk me through that white card and owner builder's certificate. What is that? How did you?
So I work with a developer who's almost a best friend now. We talk constantly. I probably talk to him more than my own family. And he was like, you've got the trades, you've got the skills, you've done the plans, you've done the construction drawings. What's stopping you from doing the build? And I was like, I don't know. Your insurance? And he was like, you can still have your own insurance. So he will hold my hand a little, but he was like, talk to this person, do the owner builder course, which was just online. It took about 8 hours or something. So it's not like a walk in the park. You still need to listen and do all those things. So I did that, and I did another course for my white card. So I applied for that. You go to Service New South Wales. It's a whole situation. I was literally the only female at Service New South Wales in the line waiting to get the white card. And that felt really empowering too because it's so unexpected.
I love that.
And my husband's like, go you, because he's so different. Like he's the numbers guy, works in an office, has, nicer hands than me most of the time. And so that's, even then, I just love that it's so unexpected.
Good on you. That's really, I think that's a really cool educational piece for, that there are a lot of people and clients or DIYers who are out there sort of maybe a little bit stuck on, I don't have the funds, because the amount of times I hear, the builder's margin.
Exactly.
I've got to pay the builder.
Yeah.
That percentage difference or whatever it might be. And I'm thinking, gosh, it really does. Well, it can not consume the client, but it can really drive them to make different decisions. I'm going to do this way to avoid the builder's margin or whatever it may be. And it's like, okay, that's really interesting. It's on their mind. Well, like it's front of mind for them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even for me, because like I said before, there are so many variables. And then the builders or even the trades that I work with are almost a little bit scared to say, hey, here's the invoice for the build or here's our margin, because we have such a good relationship.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe empowered me a little bit, because they all said, you can do this and we'll be here for you, but you don't need us. You don't need us to chuck a margin on so we're there every day. So that's where we're at.
Thank you for being so transparent about that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty cool.
It's cool. I think it's also been quite nice because while I was studying, explained to my 4-year-old what I was doing. And she was like, a builder? Like a man? And I was like, no, there are female builders.
Yeah.
So I like the conversations that are sparked from it as well.
And so in all of this, when you wake up in the morning, what motivates you? What gets you going with all of these projects? And
I think I'm in an era where I'm very motivated in a lot of different things. So if you had asked me, maybe 2 years ago when I just had my second daughter, I was definitely motivated by showing my daughters how I can make it work with the big juggle and all of that. Whereas now I think it's transcended to, I'm feeling really good about myself, or I did a challenge at the gym and I'm like just trying my best at everything. So I think that's my motivation. I know it sounds very simple and cliche, but I just want people to say, wow, like she's a force. She's trying. That's all.
giving it her all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, in this day and age with what is coming up for women empowerment, and I don't like to really get into too much of the girl boss era. But
No.
Look, it's a thing. And look, you can play into all of that. But at the end of the day, there is a bunch of us women, a big bunch, who are just driven to success and to strive. And I think there's, as I'm not a mum yet, but I hear from many mums who also own their own businesses, which is almost everyone who's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
In our industry. And yeah, it's a juggle, but there still seems to be this beautiful underpinning sort of thread of, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like despite the juggle, despite how challenging it is. And like, is that something that you resonate with, or
Totally.
do you find that it's some days it's just too much?
Last week I had my first
Recently,
while I was moving, I was like, I just need my mum hat on. I need to set up the girls. I need to do all of that. And so my emails were neglected for, let's just say 24 hours, but that felt like a really big issue to me. And it wasn't. It was fine. I think,
see, that should be okay.
it should be okay. So I am hard on myself. I know that. And that's why I'm trying to jump into other areas of my life and do my best there as well. I just, with the team, I'm like, don't work so hard. Let's go to Pilates. Let's do this. Let's bond. Let's have a minute for a tea or laugh at some ridiculous reels together, just so that there's a bit of lightness. Because I think interior design can be so hefty. There's big numbers, there's budgets, there's clients that contact you 24/7.
A lot of detail too.
So much detail. And so I think what gets me out of bed is probably being able to do something that I really, really love, to fill my cup, and then to go home at the end of the day and just try to switch off, but tell my daughters what I did and just feel like I've established that life that I once dreamt of.
That's really beautiful. And it is a testament to, all that sounds like that you've done. You've always put, let's say, you've tried to achieve this, but you've also wanted the family, and that felt right. Or, it is.
It's never fully in one way. Everything has to be kind of alongside each other. So I remember even planning my wedding. At the time, I got a promotion, and I was just as excited about the promotion as I was planning the wedding. And then when I had my daughter, I just started the business. And then when I had my second daughter, I hired 2 more people. And I was like, all these little milestones all keep happening at the same time. And I think the same thing's happening now with, finally being able to do what we're trying not to call our dream house. And we're in a really nice phase of business growth as well. And so I'm always happy when a few things are happening. I never throw my eggs in one basket.
This episode is brought to you by Unfolded, my interior design studio. From first homes to family renovations, we create spaces that are functional, stylish, and deeply personal. You can see more at unfolded.com.au. If we circle back to, our day-to-day as interior designers in this industry, I'm a big one to, a big believer of, let's say, supplier relationships.
Yeah.
How we all work together in this industry, and there's a lot of trust and things like that. And you've recently had a collaboration with Marlowe and Finch, who I also use for my window finishings.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that. We celebrated a couple of weeks ago.
That was very fun.
Yes.
They were actually one of my first suppliers. I remember starting the business, and that client had so many windows that needed their love. And I contacted a few different suppliers, and I said, can you meet me on site? And I remember Penelope replied within an instant, and she was like, well done, congrats on the business. I remember she was one of the first people to be like, what's behind the name? And we just established a really nice relationship from day one. Now, how many years later? 6 years later, we are in a position where I talk to them almost every day. They're my trusted suppliers for custom items as well. And again, I'm trying to move into more of the custom realm. A lot of my clients just like things that are a little bit different. And they can pretty much provide us with anything, as you know, like any fabric, any wallpaper, they'll bring it in, they'll expedite it from London. Like they just know what they're doing. And I almost feel like they're part of my own business team, which is a really nice trait. I think that they have with many, like you and like anyone that was at that event. And so a few months ago, I spoke to the team and we had designed 2 different bed heads for a project. And I'm like, gosh, they're really, really good. They're very unexpected, but they're good. The drift bed head is so big and grand. And when I drew it, I was like, no, it should be super tall. And then when they made it, they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then the tailored was something that I just want in my home immediately. And so I believed in the product so much, and I was talking about a palette, and George was like, let's do this. Let's manufacture, we'll collab, let's put on an event. And so that was really nice. It just felt, again, really natural. Like it just kind of evolved. It was something that didn't feel forced.
Organic.
So organic. And the clients, it was funny because the clients are other designers. So it really did push me into this world of talking to other designers. And I've never been one to compete. I feel like everyone's style is so unique, so different. Everyone's approach to design is so different as well. And it was a little bit daunting, talking to some designers that I've looked up to even. And to get the response back was so exciting. So that was really empowering as well.
And it is, it just goes to show that in our industry, we all do like to collaborate.
Yeah.
And it isn't a competition. As you say, I think you can be the same. You and I are both interior designers, but we're in our own lane.
Totally.
And if there was a job that was more catered to your style, like I've even had other interior designers refer me, knowing that the way I do things is going to suit that client a little bit better than what they might do. And I'm like, God, I love this. I love this about us because I think it's like, own what you do, stay in your lane, because it'll always work out.
Always.
Whatever's meant to be for you anyway will come in. And then if that's not the right fit, own that you may not be the best fit for that client as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just off the back of what you said about having, other designers in the same space celebrating something that you've done.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not we're here to support each other.
Exactly. And I thought, as long as I believed in the product, the quality, the manufacturing process, and everything was very true and honest, then I'm comfortable to put my name on it. I'm comfortable to share that with other designers. We just had an order for 3 bed heads in different colors to what the original palette was. And the designer was like, are you sure it's okay? And I was like, yes, I want to see how your brain works and what you think might work. So that's been, it's been so nice. It was actually just a dream collab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. So when you're designing client projects, and then you've also got what you're doing personally for your, as you say, maybe not the dream home, but the home at the moment,
the next home.
the next home. How does that differ? Do you have this same creative process that threads through both of them, or do you find because it's a personal journey versus a professional journey?
I think recently my personal journey has really helped my work with clients that are in similar positions, with young families or really busy lifestyles. So I think, the way that I'm designing joinery or the way that I'm reworking an alfresco or chucking a pool in, like there are all those factors that I think over time you learn. So I use my personal life quite a bit in the way that I am designing for my clients. With that being said, I also have clients who are completely different to me and have completely different taste, and I just have to evolve and immerse myself in their worlds as well.
And
With
probably
my
expectations too, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. One of my best clients is a ophthalmologist. When I tell you, and if he listens to this, he'll have a good laugh, he is the most precise person there ever was to walk this earth. And my life, my personal life can be quite messy. I actually have toddlers at home. Sometimes my laptop's on the couch with me while I'm, I don't know, doing whatever. And so when I go into this pristine world of his, my whole character shifts. And I think that's a very good tool that I know I have, because I can jump from one thing to another and almost recreate myself in a day. In terms of my personal design process and the next house that we're doing, it's completely different to what I do with clients. It's chaotic. I've got samples everywhere already. I've got trims, I've got moldings, I've got everything on my desk in my own organized way, but I would never present anything the way that I am to myself, to a client. I've got so many ideas. And I think this house being so old, but we'll have a really beautiful extension. It's like all the bits and pieces that I've ever wanted to do, I really want to throw into this project. And so that's a bit scary as well.
It's like it's exciting.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how's this going to come together? You can only put so much in one house.
And so in all of this then, what, without the lines being blurred, between personal and professional, how do you navigate the challenges that come up, with clients and things like that, and then be able to go home to switch off? Like, how does that all...
Yeah. Most of the time I'm pretty good. If I need to keep work at work, I can. And I think having a team has really helped me with that as well, because a lot of the time we'll have a chat about whatever's happening. And I always make sure that every single client knows what's happening at the beginning and the end of every week. Like if you're on the books, we're talking. I never want anyone to contact me and say, hey, how's things, or what's happening with our design? So I make sure that our communication is very clear all the time. And if it's not me, I always have a designer who is almost I say second in charge, but they're mainly more in charge than me. I always have clients contacting us and making sure that they feel heard. With challenges that arise in projects with trades and things like that, most of the time they will just call me because my name's on most of the documentation. But I think it's part of the job. Like a challenge is just something that we have to deal with every day. Hopefully not every day, but things happen.
Comes up.
I'm just more resilient. I think when I started the business, if there was a delay on a lead time, I'd freak out and I'd sell my soul to the client and say, I'm so sorry. Now I'm like, these things happen. At the end of the day, it's design. It's a luxury. It's something that is so important. I find, sometimes people would discredit interior designers or the design world, and I absolutely hate that with every fiber of my being. But I think sometimes I need to tap into that to remind myself that a delayed rug or a different architrave will be okay. And I think when I'm more laid back in that way and I'm communicating with trades and clients in that way, it helps everyone.
It's almost like an acceptance piece, isn't it? It's accepting that anything at any time can change, and there can be errors that are made and mistakes can happen, or delays, like you say. But as well, accepting that and then circling back to the communication that you mentioned, I feel like consistency in communication creates so much trust with our clients.
Yeah.
Not only do they hear from you, one, but you are across whatever might be happening. So I think it's the really important sort of message here is like to share with your client if there is a delay, they're okay to have the delay happen if they know that you're across it.
Exactly.
If
I'm
they
okay,
don't worry,
they'll be okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
If we also just show up as confident in, look, this happens. Like I remember when I first opened Unfolded, and I was having to practice language quite a bit because I didn't realize as a business owner how much I would be chatting with the clients about every detail. It was sort of like you assumed that, I'm talking 7 years ago now, that you would just get the job done and deliver it. It's like, no, there's like almost, at least twice a week communication minimum on where the job's at and where you're headed and what's next, and reflect on that and move forward with this and sub out a tile and whatever it might be. And it's one of those things where they were always fine if I was able to give them just that top 3 dot points. This is where we're at for this. Don't worry, I've got that. And I'm going to update you on this by Thursday close of business.
Yeah. That's it.
It took me, 15 minutes. I've now learnt the language. I'm now confident in the language. And everyone feels amazing.
Totally.
And then there's no pressure either because you're just getting on top of it.
I even do it with the designers in the team. So if I can see something looks like it'll change or shift on site, I'll tell them, I'll give them those dot points so that they can build on those dot points and make sure that the client's okay if I'm not doing that.
Yes. Like pat it out.
Everyone needs to know it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Although I think sometimes, like Alex, my interior architect, she will do that to me as well, especially lately. Last week moving, I was a bit fragile, and she sent me this email with dot points of this happened, but it's okay. This happened and it's okay. And I was like, that's all I needed. That's literally all I needed.
So good.
But if I had seen an email that said all of these things happened or might happen with no resolution, I would have freaked out.
Yeah, it's like, just let me know that it's been resolved. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But I also want to know the detail.
Yeah. Tell me everything.
Tell me everything, and that it's been resolved. Absolutely. You and I had a call, we caught up twice now since that call, about, being vulnerable and being your authentic self in this industry, and what that can look like is very different for different people. How do you embrace vulnerability?
I think I really show vulnerability in every aspect of my life. So funny, yesterday I've got some little gym friends now, and we connected, and it's so nice to have a little circle of everyone that's kind of lifting each other up. And they were like, oh, what are you going to deadlift? Because we were testing, and I was like, oh, this number. And they were like, yeah, you'll do it. And for a second there, I was like, no, I don't think I can. And I won't say the number because you'll freak out.
I was about to say, what kind of weight are we talking about?
120 kilos. I don't even know. I know my husband was like, sorry, what?
Go you.
It's been a long time coming. Like I really enjoy lifting weights and that challenge, and that's a whole other conversation.
It's really good for women.
It's so
I mean, it's good for everybody, but there's a lot of new studies around.
Since having my kids, actually, like my postpartum journey has been a long one. And I also have an autoimmune disease, and everyone kept telling me, start lifting weights. And I've really just started to enjoy it.
And it's apparently really good for mood. I mean, exercise in general.
And you've had a really rough day and you've put your energy into focusing on something that's quite challenging. I really love that. And so last night I was like, no, I've had the worst day. I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. And I was so vulnerable. And they were like, lift the damn thing. Like, you will be okay. And so I think sometimes being vulnerable opens up other people to connecting with you. And so with client work, sometimes I'm like, I'm so sorry the builder's done that. I also agree with you. I'm quite upset about it. And I make sure that we're on the same page. And it's not to throw the builder in the deep end as an example, but I think just being completely honest and vulnerable, you just connect.
That's a really nice example because it does remind me of the amount of times where I would hold back because I wanted to make it seem that it was just sorted and fine and professional. And it's like,
People
we're
want to know you're
human.
human.
We are human.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes as women on site, we are the only women on site unless the client's there and they're female. Otherwise, yeah, it's just you and maybe 10, 15 men. And that can be hard when everyone looks at you for an answer.
It totally can be.
Yeah.
Being on site as one of the only females there, or most of the time the only female there, it is hard to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So as much as I say, oh yeah, I'm fine, there are so many times where in my head I'm like, this is intense, or this is wrong, or and I just remain professional. But a lot of the time it's with new trades. All the trades that I work with now, that I've worked with on many projects, they know how I work. And so if I'm vulnerable there, most of the time they're like, okay, Steph, we'll get it done. We'll do it your way.
Yes, because you create that rapport.
Yeah.
Right? And it's kind of like you create a bit of a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, professional friendship.
Yeah.
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 I'm like that with my builders as well. Like, I think you get to that point where I also, like, I'm working at the moment with a builder developer, and we have really good conversations around, what do you think of this design as well? Because he sees it from a different perspective. And what I'm finding, I don't know about you, but a lot of my clients, the conversations that we're having at the start of a build is very heavily family home. And as we keep kind of, chatting about it, this is in the residential space, as we keep chatting about it, it's evolving, and they start to go, oh, but if I want to sell it down the track, do I do that feature wall, or do I do that custom joinery that suits me and my personal taste in September 2025 versus what's going to be cool in 2028? Will another family enjoy this space the way that I'm designing it now? So we're suddenly having a few little pivotal moments of like, and so what I find, if I circle back to the builder developer that I'm working with, we have those kinds of conversations of, this is beautiful for now and it's beautiful for 2028.
Yeah.
And 2032 and onwards. So it's like, what is timeless but also personal?
Yeah.
But yeah, having that relationship, if I circle back to, builder designer relationships, and having that trust is that, I can call them and be like, oh, I'm stuck. Are we going to do Venetian plaster? Or are we going to wallpaper the end, like whatever it might be? And he's like, nah, option B for sure. I'm like, great. Because we know the client. And we know the client will love that too. And he did in the end. We're like, great, we're all on the same page.
How nice is that when you're all on the same team?
So aligned.
Yeah.
So aligned. But it's also that you've met the brief.
Yeah.
It's one thing to meet the brief when it comes to, what we do in that phase 1 of conceptual. As designers, we are there to meet the brief for the client, but the client also wants to know, I love this, but what do you think in your experience? And how would you do that differently? Do you get a lot of that?
Totally.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing a project, and the client bought a house that I never expected him to buy. I think it's really cool. It's very simple, and he's not simple. Like, he loves everything to be super unique. He pushes boundaries. He's a second-time client. And now I obviously have that rapport, but the way that we're designing, I'm almost not designing for who he is today. I'm designing for the client at the end of the project who will open that door and be like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So sometimes he does like to play it safe, but I know what his reaction was the first time round. And so I'm really just, I'm designing for who I think he is.
And so when you mentioned earlier, if you do feel like sharing about, postpartum, how that comes into or makes, plays into, how does postpartum play into your journey as a mum, a partner, a business owner, a boss?
This is a heavy question.
I know we don't have to go there.
We can go into it. I'm so fine. I think the first time round, starting the business, first time mum, everything was a first and everything was very new. And we also went into our second lockdown. So that was a very challenging time. I look through my photos and I'm like, oh, poor me. Like, what was I even wearing? Or who was I? Like some of the things
What's that dress?
what is that dress? And I remember I'd bought these like bright red neck nada shorts and I was like, where was she going? I was stuck at home. Why was I wearing those? I was not going to Pilates. And it's so funny because now I actually still have them and I can't let go of them, but I'd never wear them. And then, the second time round, by the time I, had fallen pregnant with Remy, I felt good. The business had grown. Everything felt really stable. And then as soon as I had her, I remember thinking, oh, a mum of two doesn't wear that, or a mum of two doesn't do that. And it was like a whole thing again where I had to almost reinvent myself.
Was that judgmental? Or was that just a story you made? Or
No, it's a story I made. Like my whole persona was different with two kids compared to one. And some of my friends and I will talk about it. And it's just the weirdest thing. I had two girls, so I guess, I don't know. It should have been quite similar. But my friends who then had a little boy or a little girl, they were like, yeah, I felt a shift again. And I think being in a creative role, there's so much behind identity. And I try not to buy into trends. I know what I like. I know what works. I do know who I am. Going through something that's so all-encompassing does give you a shake up every time. So watch out if I have a third child. Who knows what will happen? But yeah, postpartum, within that time, I also moved 2 or 3 times as well. So I guess I've always had these shifts happening. Now with a 4 and a 2-year-old, I do feel like my true self, which is really nice, a nice place to be in. And I think that's also led us into taking the leap of, selling our house, which was very comfortable, to now buying the worst house in a really cute street, and believing in ourselves as well. So I think my confidence also has a really big play on what happens in our family's life, which can sound like a lot of pressure, but I see it as a good thing. If I'm having a great day or if something's happening with work and I'm excited about it, I know I'm a cooler mum that day.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. And so in summary, given everything you've shared today, what are your next steps? Where are you headed with Laidback Lee? End of the year into 2026. What's next?
We are working with a couple of developers who are actually very like-minded. I would say maybe future me in 10 years down the track, I'd love to do a multi-res project of our own, and I'd love to have a bigger scale of projects in our own portfolio. So working with other mums or family members or friends who are similar to me but maybe future me is quite exciting. So we're working on maybe 2 or 3 multi-res projects at the end of the year, which is really exciting. They'll obviously be done next year, but we're putting briefs together and doing all of that now. That's really exciting. I also am planning to take a little break. I need to go on a holiday. Probably sounds wild since I'm about to embark on the reno and I said I'm the builder. I just need a minute. Yeah. And I think that also recharges me creatively. I connect with the family, just all those nice, beautiful things. I need to be on a beach. I need to be in the ocean. I need to do all those cliche things.
Yeah.
So that's on the horizon. Very early days. I jumped on line last night and couldn't believe how much airfares are right now.
I know. Especially, is it over Christmas, you're thinking?
Of course it's over Christmas.
I know. Isn't everyone?
Isn't everyone?
Yeah.
And then I also have been speaking to a client who has a project in Indonesia. So that's really exciting. Old me, maybe like 2017 me was like, I'm moving to Bali. I'm never coming back. I'll be a designer there. So in a weird way, it feels quite full circle to be able to work on a project there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been amazing having you on and chatting all things interior design, life, motherhood, and learning from you as well. Thank you for sharing some really
Thanks for
vulnerable
having
moments.
me. It's been so nice.
Yeah. And so where can people find you?
They can find me in many places. On Instagram, Laidback Lee _design. on our website. You can find and connect with me on LinkedIn, social media. It's literally just Stephanie Ferrara. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this chat, please follow the show, leave a review, and share it with a friend who loves design. I'm Camilla Ingle, and this has been Behind the Design. Until next time.